For the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for the invocation.
Our Heavenly Father, as always, thank you for allowing us to be gathered here this evening to make sound and hopefully civil decisions for our community. With everything happening in our country, Lord, please just be with all of us. Please help level heads prevail. Please protect those who are in danger. Please protect those who are in need. And as always, please be with our first responders and our military serving at home and abroad. It is in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, thank you, Councilmember Franzen. Welcome to the regular February meeting of the Independence City Council, and happy Groundhog Day to all of you. I assume by now everybody has heard the exciting news that we will have 6 more weeks of winter, according to Puxatawny Phil. I'm happy about that, but for people like Mr. Marconi, who do not just love the stark landscapes and other things about winter, he is also happy about the fact that that old rodent has been right about 20% of the time, or 35% of the time in the last 20 years. So chances are we don't have 6 more weeks, if you believe what rodents say. So anyway, happy Groundhog's Day, everybody. Welcome, and before we get started, Madam Clerk, a roll call of members, please.
Mr. Brinker?
Here.
Mr. Baylor?
Here.
Mrs. Franzen?
Here.
Mr. Steffen?
Here.
Mr. Vogel?
Here.
Mr. Wade?
Here.
All right, sounds like all are present and counted for, and we do have a quorum, so we will continue. First item is approval of the council minutes from our January 5th regular meeting. Has council had the opportunity to review the minutes? Have any questions, clarifications, or any other concerns? Hearing none, I would ask for a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve council meeting minutes of January 5th, 2026.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion from Councilmember Franzen, second from Councilmember Waite. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries. Thank you. All right, and before we get started, we do, I know we don't normally have privilege of the floor, but we did have a request from some residents to come and talk about. We had talked about the Manor Hill parking issues and some concerns on line of sight issues. And if you all, if council recalls, I had asked the police department to go out and take a look at it and determine whether or not we had a real safety concern there. The determination from the police department that yes, there was indeed a line of sight issue as you come into the subdivision on Windermere. So a no parking sign was placed at the few houses into the development. So once you clear the hill, I took a ride over there today and looked at it, basically gives you time to get to the top of the hill, clear the hill, and see what's coming. It seems like the problem was if people were coming in the other direction. The concern was if you swerved to miss parked cars, you were in another lane, in the other opposite lane of traffic. So with that said,
Mayor, could I interject one thing?
yes.
So what council has before them on, is what I sent Miss Byer, Amy Byer, yeah. So I sent, what this resident has is the current location where the sign was moved, and then an option B after our police and public works went back out to see if there was any room for compromise. So the current location A is where it is now, option B is a possible, and then the other printout aerial map shows where it was originally, and then there's some details on the crest of the hill and all that. But this is what Ms. Byer was sent. I think I emailed you that, yeah. So anyway, just for clarification.
Okay, great. Appreciate that.
Sure.
And Ms. Byer, if you would like to take the podium, if you wouldn't mind, even though we've said your name a couple times, if you wouldn't mind stating your name and address for the record, please.
Amy Byer. What was the other thing to say?
Your address.
My address, sorry. I have migraine, so I apologize for the glasses and everything. Okay, 3183 Windermere Hill. I'm actually the very first house there on the left-hand side when you drive in.
Okay.
So I am very well aware of the crest of the hill, and because I back in, personally choose to back into my garage. Yes, I get that, it's not normal, but I have to go into the entire street to be horizontal to my driveway. So I get very much about traffic and having to be aware of the traffic oncoming from the crest of the hill and stuff like that. But I also have a 16-year-old child, or actually not 16 anymore, 18, 8-year-old child. But when he started driving, had a smaller vehicle, and he was in the driveway, and it was fine to get around. But now a deer hit his car, and he has a bigger truck now. So he had to park in the street until that sign was moved. And it's way too far away from our house for me to feel comfortable for him to park. So that was our biggest concern, was especially, just his safety in the evening hours. And Tony, go ahead and introduce yourself.
And if I could ask you also, if you wouldn't mind stating your name and address for the record, please.
Tony Kaufman, 3180 Windermere. So I'm the first house on the right.
Okay.
I have lived there 8 years, and we have always parked on the street. We have kids in activities, so we're constantly coming and going. And now we're to the point where we're having to pull out of the driveway multiple times a day to switch cars. We listened to the last meeting. Our HOA president was unaware that anybody was even coming to council, had no idea about the situation. But, in the time I've been there, there's never been an accident. The problem we see is the speeding over that crest. If you are doing the speed limit, which there is no speed limit sign when you come into our neighborhood. It is back down a couple streets, and I believe that is the only speed limit sign we have there. But if there is a concern with going through that entrance, 200, 300 feet down, there's another entrance. So the gentleman who came to council was kind of in between the two. So if there's a concern for safety, there is an alternate entrance. But, my parents stay with me a lot because my dad's having health issues. So it's just a lot as far as not having our parking. And I know the gentleman who came said that there was a sign there in the past. There's never been a sign there till maybe 3 or 4 months ago at the bottom of my sidewalk, because we also own the lot next to our house. And they just finished that sidewalk. When they finished the sidewalk, they did put a sign at the bottom of that had stated no parking here to corner. But outside of that, there's never been a sign there, so we've always kind of had our parking. But again, there's no speed limit sign. I don't let my kids go outside and play because people just fly up and down that area, and I think it's more of an issue of speeding through there versus not being able to see, because we live right there, and that's what we see a lot, is the speeding.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate your answer. Yes, sir. If I could ask you also, state name and address for the record, please.
Jason Landers, 3175 Windermere. For reference point, third house on the left.
Okay.
Just to kind of double down on what the ladies have said, speed is really the root cause of why anyone has come to council in the first place. Line of sight obviously is a problem. But the reason that line of sight is even the discussion point is because they're worried about the speed of oncoming when they're coming up the line of sight problem hill. I don't know, Mr. Mayor, did you say you drove the street today?
I took a ride over there this afternoon,
Okay.
just to kind of have, I've been back there plenty, but to
Okay,
have
so
a feel
we
for
had
it.
good daylight today, so you have an idea then of about how far up you can see into oncoming?
Yes.
Okay, so my eyes are bothering me. Mr. Marconi,
Yes.
did you mention the original location of the sign on your drawings?
Yes.
Where
Yeah,
it was placed? Okay. And then later, I want to say within 10 days, moved to location that's currently located?
yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. I think, lack of eloquence, we're talking about putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound unless we address the speed. I drove today because I was talking with another neighborhood homeowner yesterday at a birthday party. I said, we don't have any speed limit signs. She said, oh, I think we have one. I don't think so. Well, I drove around. It is at the top of Windermere. You make a left onto a street where no home fronts are. There are 4 driveways that face this 75-foot stretch of road. To see the speed limit sign, the one and only speed limit sign we have in our neighborhood, you've got to go turn down that street, turn back around, and it's on the back side of a, I don't know what the sign, it's a much larger sign. So it's hidden, first of all. It's, ultimately, to me, that's the problem, is the fear of speed of oncoming cars. Yes, but as parents of children, right there have been many times where I've walked out and looked, like, okay, where are they going? I've walked to where whoever has sped up my road, and as civilly as possible, ask them not to ever drive past my house that fast again. I got 3 babies, you know, I got a 13-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 7-year-old, and, you know, at what point is it worth saying, hey, I got to come to the city and have them do something, you know?
No, and I appreciate your concerns. I appreciate all of your
Yeah,
concerns.
I appreciate you hearing us out.
Yeah. As far as the speed limit sign, yeah, that is something we can take a look at on that.
Now, just to double down on that, I drove today, we've got 26 no parking signs on our 6 or 7 streets, and 1 speed limit sign.
Yeah. I can, yeah, absolutely see. And we don't have a ton of speed limit signs in subdivisions. There's kind of a standard, but right, nobody knows that. And I think in problem areas particularly, it makes sense to post that speed limit. Now, you know, we all know that it's a deterrent. I believe it will deter some people, but it certainly is not a solution. Speed humps are another option. It's a process by ordinance. I can't order a speed hump put in.
Is that Public Works?
Actually, if you go through the police department, they will get you started on the process.
Okay.
And
Because
it's
I
a matter
spoke
of,
to Kenton County Planning, PDS,
yeah, PDS, Planning Development Services
Yeah.
of Kenton County, yeah.
and they were like, not us. It's
No,
public right away.
Yeah, it's a city ordinance, it's done by ordinance, but the ordinance has a process, and the reason for the process is, as you can imagine, is many people don't want them, as do want them. So a key part of that process is a survey of your neighbors within a certain distance. I don't recall the distance off the top of my head. But yeah, survey of the neighbors that would agree, that yes, say yes, we do want that, or no, we do not want that.
Didn't we knock that down to 50%? I thought we changed the ordinance to 50% of the neighbors have to agree.
I can't remember where we're at
Yeah,
right
there's
now.
a certain
I know
radius.
we
And I think there's a certain distance from where the proposed is, the percentage of that, in that
Yeah.
distance.
Yeah.
And I can,
As you're talking, I'm thinking speed hump.
yeah, well,
I don't
and
think-
I'd
I
like
didn't,
to.
I didn't want to show all my cards, but
Yeah.
I'm working on a speed hump.
yeah.
Now, I've been
Okay.
talking to these people beforehand. First time I met her in person, but we've had some correspondence back and forth. And that's why
Yeah,
I
I
said, we
think I
might want to take a look at a speed hump.
Yeah.
In retrospect, we probably should have just tabled that to another meeting and give them some opportunity to come in and discuss it. So I think one thing that we should have done better at was notifying them. Essentially,
Well,
she said she came home and there's a sign moved in her front yard. If
It
we
was
said, hey,
placed
maybe
between
next
5
week this
PM
was
and
gonna
6
happen.
PM, by the way.
So there could be a little preparation, but I mean, we learned that. So next time, I think we can do better. But I think speed is an issue as well, but keep in mind, those people that are speeding are your neighbors too. So it becomes kind of a sensitive area. Are you going to end up ticketing your neighbors?
And I agree with that, and
So-
I like what the mayor said about,
Yeah.
survey the neighborhood, absolutely.
Yeah,
Which
but
is part of the complaint that at least the 3 of us had, is that no neighbors were surveyed when the sign that lit the fire.
Well, that
was
is
placed.
different, though. The ordinance on speed humps does
Right,
require
I-
that. If it's a public safety issue,
Yeah.
yeah, we do not, and historically, we have not notified.
Right,
If
and that's
the police- We
understandable.
ask, if somebody brings it to our attention, we try to identify those things when streets come in, but once something happens is when you learn a lot. And when somebody comes in, and then really, I defer to the police department, ask them to
Gotcha. And
determine.
I
do
guess
we have a
my
public safety.
argument to that would be that this is also public safety issue with the kids.
Yes.
You know, and again, I'm not against surveying all of the residents
Well,
of the
that's the
community.
ordinance.
Yeah,
We
yeah, and so,
can't-
yeah, no, that's perfect.
Yeah, we
That-
can't
that's-
do
yeah.
it without that.
Yeah, and just to
process, so.
clarify, it's 51% need to vote in favor of the speed humps. unless the speed is in the 85th percentile, which is between 5 and 7 miles per hour over the speed limit, then 75% of the property owners need to vote for favor of the speed limit.
So that's kind of the first step of the process is the police department will take a couple of days and monitor.
I would say we need to
speed.
record speeds then.
Yeah,
right?
they'll record speeds, determine where those speed fall, or is there a speeding problem and to what extent? That's
I
where
think
we
you'll
fall
be
into that 85th percentile.
unpleasantly surprised at what you find.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Probably
not
not.
uncommon to be.
And
unpleasantly
speeding's a big
surprised.
issue in the city and in subdivisions, so
Yeah.
we get it quite often.
Yeah.
I mean, I live in Liberty Orchard and Patriot Way's a cut through and people,
Yeah.
there's speed limit signs posted on Patriot and they just,
Right, and that was another irritating point, is that with the one hidden speed limit sign, you know,
Yeah.
you think, where should your speed limit signs be? I'm gonna say, how about the entrance of the
Yeah.
community?
Makes a lot of sense, I agree.
So, and then,
common sense would dictate though,
Yeah.
but there's not a lot of that sometimes. But common sense would
what
dictate.
is-
When you're
what
going
is
into a
common sense?
neighborhood, 55 miles an hour is not a good idea.
well, like I said, I've had to have conversations.
Oh, I
It's-
get it.
yeah. Last
We can get
question
that
I-
problem resolved pretty quickly. Yeah, we'll get a speed limit sign out there.
The last point back to the sign was determining location of the sign. I know, I don't have, you know, ordinance numbers or anything, I couldn't find that, but what I've found is, let's see, let me read this to you the way it says. Parking is, on-street parking prohibited within 38 feet of intersecting road. So I guess that was the biggest question of why, who picked that spot, and where.
Well, and that's the general requirement on parking that, but when it becomes a specific safety concern with line of sight issues or something else, in that case, that's where I ask the police department to go out
Okay.
and make a determination of where does a sign need to be in order for safe traffic,
I got you.
which is what happened in this case. Now, I think given the concerns, they've gone back and relooked at it and thought, okay, we can probably move that sign up and still feel comfortable with a safe line of sight as you clear the hump, bring it up to.
Gotcha.
It looks like, right now, it's just beyond the property line of the property that I guess is immediately north of 3176. So yeah, taking it up pretty much right on the property line between 3176 and 3180, which, yeah,
You said between 3176, 3180?
yeah, 3176,
Do you have a copy
3180,
of
kind of
this?
on that property line.
Oh, that's, okay, I got you, that's option B.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
current-
option
'cause
B.
Okay, I thought you said current location, okay. So
No, yeah, it's currently it's in A, and, yeah,
Yeah,
Colonel
I
Boyle and I have
drawing,
discussed
sorry.
it, and, yeah, we've kind of determined we can get it up there a little bit to save that. Unfortunately, we just can't change the site issue. I don't disagree with you. Speeding certainly exacerbates that problem.
Right, and that's what, my chief complaint isn't necessarily the sign or the lack of parking. Yeah, it's inconvenient. My mother-in-law lives with me, we take care of her, and she has a vehicle, so I've got to do some of the shuffling as well, or utilize street parking for one of my 3 vehicles. Not as big an issue, like I said, as the speeding. That's, you know.
You mentioned you had you were in the process on a speed hump. Have you gotten the application from the police?
I just started today.
Okay.
Like I said, I spoke with PDS, and they basically said, not me, sounds like Independence, City of Independence Public Works.
It's not Public Works, it's the police department.
It
The
is
police
police
department
department.
manages that entire
Yeah.
process.
If
Yeah.
you give me your email, or I think we have it up there, I can reach out to you in the morning and
Perfect.
send you all the specifications that you'll need and what we do to monitor the study and
Awesome, thank you very
get all
much.
that.
I do not have your emails up here.
I'll provide it.
Okay, yeah, if you don't mind sharing that. Or yeah, Colonel, if you have a card handy, or they could just, send an
Yeah.
email you in the morning or whatever works. But yeah, so that will get that process started, and I agree. It sounds like from what you're describing, that seems like an optimum place for it. Yeah, the issue on the parking on the hill is that line of sight issue. I don't know a way around that. It's a tough call. I mean,
Cars can pass even with cars parked. 2 cars can pass with cars parked.
Yeah,
Like,
I,
we're on Pleasant Ridge in Fort Mitchell,
yeah.
and there's a hump, there's a nice hill that you don't
No,
have
I've-
on site, and they don't take away the street parking either.
Yeah.
Now, to
I've had that conversation. As a matter of fact, in one of my newsletter articles a few years ago, I wrote about the fact that modern streets are built to park on one side and cars can still pass on both sides.
Now, the question,
And we discussed that the challenge is when you don't see them coming, people tend to sway over further than they should.
The
It's-
line be
it's-
placed,
Our president mentioned that, like
Yeah.
a yellow line, or parking space lines. Because if we wouldn't have bought the lot next door to me, there would have been a house there with a driveway and, you know, I'm sure.
probably one street parking as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we bought that lot,
Right.
so we would have more space. But, I mean, you know, like I said, I built my house before any of the other ones did, and, I mean, we've never had an issue. There's never been an accident in front of our house. I mean, I feel like the cars there made people go slower because they had to take that caution.
Right.
question on determination as far as line of sight goes, is that chief of police who just looks and says, okay, this is the spot?
That was the assistant chief who had gone out and looked at it, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So
Yeah.
it was just, this feels like?
Well, when I was out there, there was a vehicle that was parked on the road, backed up next to the sign, you know, where it was legal. And I sat and watched multiple cars, and I could not see them until they were already around the vehicle. So the determination on where we put the new sign was to get up to the crest of the hill long enough to see around and oncoming traffic to see if there's another vehicle coming.
Okay.
So the issue that we find, I guess, a lot is safety. You know, I think, is it
I'm good with that.
Ms. Hoffman, right? You said you had young kids that you don't even let go out there sometimes and play without supervision. You know, it only takes one vehicle and one kid to chase a ball out there, and then it's too late. And that's what our main concern is. Yes, with the speed study will help. You know, I feel for you all with regard to the parking and having to walk, you know, several houses down. But at dusk, you know, one kid chasing a ball, thinking they can get out there one time, that's all it takes.
Yeah, I don't know, I mean, I'm with you. I don't know if the two correlate. The reason I say that is you're going to, God forbid, you know, that ever happened, you know. However, if that were to happen, I don't know if the parked cars would be the cause so much as the speed.
Well, the parked car going around another vehicle, you know, I have young kids myself, you know, they're not the best at looking both ways.
Right.
And if they get used to a car being parked there, they'll think, okay,
I got you.
you know, and not even look for a secondary vehicle.
Got you.
Well, Mr. Berge, do you have something you want to add? Could ask you to go to the podium, please, and say if you could state your name and address for the record.
Dan Berge, 3164 Tennyson. The point was made that there hasn't been any accidents, and there hasn't. But I want to tell you, 2 months ago, my wife and I were leaving the subdivision. Cars were parked on the right side of the road, or not supposed to be. And a car was coming up Windermere, weaved into our lane, and I told my wife, watch out, and we hit the brakes and went over on the side, or we would have had a head-on collision. It happened that quick. So we didn't have an accident, but the chances are greater that one could happen. I just wanted to mention a personal experience that happened recently.
Okay, appreciate it.
Parked on the fire hydrant side or the side of the?
The cars were parked in front of your house, your side. The car was coming up Windermere, we were going down on the speed limit, and all of a sudden, there it came, right in our lane, because she wanted to swerve away from the car.
I got you. I just wanna make sure I
And we
understood.
reacted instantly and avoided it head on. I'm telling you, I was there. My stomach was in my throat for probably an hour.
But if
I
there's
vote-
two entrances, if it's that
No,
big,
the entrance is, no, that's the.
Okay.
so he's parking all the way
Mr.
down
Tran,
the
did you
road
want
and
to,
not
okay,
anything.
do you want to state your name and address for the record, please, sir?
I'm Dave Schrant. I live at 3168 Tennyson Place. As a former public works employee in another city, the speed limit sign, I'm anti-signs, but they're necessary evil. And what we have done in a subdivision such as ours, the entranceway, you have two entrances, right? you can post a 20 mile per hour unless otherwise posted. And then you don't have to put speed limit signs all over the neighborhood, and put them in both entrances, and that will help. And I sympathize with your loss of parking, you know, what you do when you have company. I understand that. I've seen school buses. I'm more about the big vehicles that are making that turn coming into there, a school bus especially, coming and going. And they need the room to get in. I can't say that I've seen any close calls or anything like that. Your delivery trucks and all that. That people coming off of Marshall Road aren't exactly slowing down to come in our subdivision. And and I don't know, I can't remember if we even have a stop bar there, but it should be, you gotta be careful, because they're gonna cut it short.
Yeah.
And a school bus needs that area, like you said, where it's at, to function safely, you know, so there's other places in the neighborhood. On my street, there's no parking in the circle. There's no sign.
Yeah.
And that poor guy in the school bus doing this, and UPS and all these guys that come in the neighborhood, they struggle a little bit. So maybe that could be looked at, please. You know, we have one no parking this side of the street, which is in front of my house, and somebody parks on the street farther up. I don't know what the proper distance is. Visibility, I think I can look at that too. But so that was also an issue. But as far as the speed limit signs go, yes, let's post one on both entrances and then put 20 mile per hour, which is our neighborhood, right?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I should be 15.
yeah. So subdivision streets are 20 miles an hour.
20 miles an hour.
That's across the board in the city, if I'm not mistaken.
One sign,
Yeah.
20 mile per hour,
Well-
unless otherwise posted. And that, I think that's sufficient.
Unless for some reason snow slows down the county's ability to make signs for us, we'll have that sign up here in the next couple of days. We'll resolve that problem real quick.
And I really appreciate the snow removal that was done in this last snow.
Thank you.
Kudos to the guys.
Thank you for noting that.
Good
They
job.
did a heck of a
Thank you.
job under very challenging circumstances. Thank you, sir. So we will get the speed limit sign, we'll definitely get that taken care of quickly. If you talk to Colonel Boyle, he'll take care of you on getting the information on the speed hump, and that, I mean, it certainly sounds like, you know, there's, people don't love them, but it sounds like there's a solid need there. Yeah, yeah, no, I do too. Yeah, they are tough. So yeah, if you get that process going, we can take care of that problem. We can discuss the line of sight issue and again, but I'll tell you, I don't want to get anybody's hopes up. Again, I rely on the police, and I went out, and I'll be honest, I was skeptical when I went out there. When I went out and looked at it, I thought, yeah, I can see the point, and actually, I called Colonel Boyle while I was out, and we kind of walked through some things and what they saw, so that'll be a hard one, but we'll take a look at it, see, because I certainly appreciate it. I mean, that is, that's a little bit of a hike when you lose that parking in front of your house.
Where do we stand on option B, Mayor? Is that an option that we're still weighing as far as relocating that sign to option B? Or has it been done
I
yet?
don't think you
Yeah.
all don't like
Option B has not, the sign has not been moved from the current location
Okay.
pending, here.
We wanted to meet here today and talk about it before, I mean, option B is fine, it literally only moves it one driveway, so it doesn't
Yeah.
really open up that much parking, maybe one extra car can park now.
Yeah, it looks like I might get two there, but you're right, it doesn't change the world, I agree.
It doesn't change much.
Yeah.
If I can add, I sympathize with you guys. I came over and drove it, and, you are gonna lose some parking. I can sympathize with both issues. I live in a cul-de-sac, and he lives in the same cul-de-sac, and at one time, what did we have, 10 or 12 teenagers on our street that were all driving, and they were all, parking. There were times that my daughter, with there being no parking in front of our house, because we're in the cul-de-sac, my 17-year-old daughter had to park 3 or 4 houses up on the street. It kind of, and I hate to use this term, but it is what it is when you're living in a subdivision, especially when you start getting a bunch of teenage drivers. More parking gets taken up. And it's hard, it's not ideal, and now we play with the snow, we played shuffle the cars for 3 days, because we were keeping them off the street. And as far as the speed limit thing, I think posting the signs at the entrance of both of those, or at both of those entrances is a great idea. It's not gonna stop the speeding. I would, if it were me and I was living on a main drag, as much as I agree with you, I hate speed humps, I would pursue them for my kids' safety. That and maybe Colonel Boyle, maybe they could sit some officers over there for a few days, you know? A few people who might get pulled over and get a nice warning might think twice about the continued speeding, which is what we had to end up doing in our subdivision to address that at one point, so.
That's a good point, Councilmember. Well, we can, we can look at enforcement, especially as you're communicating on the speed hump. I mean, if there are, the challenge of enforcement, obviously, a police cruiser sitting there is a great deterrent for speeding, but it's only good while it's there. But if there are some peak times where you all see particular problems, let us know what that is, and we'll see if we can get, we'll try to get an officer over there. And it helps, it deters, it reminds people for a while. It tends to wear off, but might buy some time to the speed humps.
One more question, Mayor, before Gina kills me, because she doesn't. Don't we have an option where there is a temporary speed hump that's installed when we see areas of high traffic we've done in the past?
We do have some
Still have
temporary
that
speed humps.
Option available that
Yeah.
if we say, if we do a quick survey and say, well, wait a minute, there was a lot of speed coming in here. We've used this in other places to kind of remind people to slow down. So I wonder if, is that an option we can look at?
That is
potentially?
an option we can look at. I don't know where it's at on the, we've got a couple of temporaries. I think we've got a couple of them.
Yeah, I'd have to check with Sergeant Hager on that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so
He
that might
manages
be
all
something-
that.
There's a list for them that's
Yeah.
kind of,
Is there? Okay, I don't know how many we
There's
have.
some,
but-
it's not, we don't have them laying around until we need it.
Gotcha.
They're kind of programmed out for a while. But yes, we'll absolutely take a look at that as well. We've got a temporary one in there as a
Kind of
reminder.
remind people, hey, you might need to slow down. So,
Yeah.
okay, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mayor, I just wanted to ask too, it's interesting, sometimes with these subdivisions with HOAs, in the beginning, they supply the speed limit signs because they tend to be more decorative.
Ours aren't very pretty.
Ours are just your basic, I didn't know if Manor Hill in the original, they would supply those, and then when they,
The only ones that we supply are the decorative stop signs.
that's it.
Regulatory signs.
Okay. I was just curious, because I'm curious why there's none. Like the mayor said, that's an easy fix, but they're not going to be the pretty kind that
Yeah.
sometimes HOAs have. They're outlined in wood
As
or,
long as they're the effective kind, right?
Yeah. Now,
Okay.
if I remember the process right, it's the developer's initial responsibility to put those up to meet our standards, right? And then
Well-
we basically take over maintaining them after a certain point?
yes.
After that?
And that's why I was curious, because sometimes, again, subdivisions
Yeah,
that have
I've seen others
HOAs,
where it just doesn't happen.
Right.
and
Yeah, I'm
just till we
it
discover
doesn't matter, we'll figure it out, but that's an easy one. Yeah. Assuming the ground's not frozen, we can hammer them in the ground.
Appreciate all y'all coming in. We get the things rolling on the speed hump. We'll have a discussion, follow up on see if there's anything else that can be done. Like I said, I don't want to get anybody's hopes up. It's a tough one. So, thank you. But I think we should probably move on at this point. Get rid of the other bit. You are welcome to stay, but you are certainly not going to offend anybody if you decide to recover some of your Monday night.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Sure. Thanks. All right. Moving on to old business, we have 3 items of old business. The first one is ordinance number 2026-0-01, and this is some clarification on check signers. And you'll see further down the list, we started looking at our financial policies. One of the things we realized is we didn't really have a firm, we have our policy, and the best thing about our policy is people that write checks can't sign checks. But the bottom line is the mayor, the city administrator, and the city clerk can sign checks, but we really didn't have that formalized, so we want to go ahead and formalize that. So, Attorney Gatlin, if you would.
Yeah, this is ordinance number 2026-0-01, an ordinance of the City of Independence in Kenton County, Kentucky, amending section 33.06 in the Independence Code of Ordinances, clarifying signers on checks. As the mayor indicated a while back, KRS 83A-090 established the position of city administrative officer and allowed the mayor to delegate certain authorities, including check signing, to the city administrative officer. Our current ordinance has not been modified since 1972. So we are just adding and clarifying that the city clerk and city administrator, as well as the mayor, are authorized to sign and sign checks.
All right. Any questions on that one or discussion? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 2026-0-01.
Second.
All right, I've got a motion from Councilmember Fairler, a second from Councilmember Steffen. Any other discussion? Roll call vote, please, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Baylor?
Yes.
Mr. Steffen?
Yes.
Mrs. Franzen?
Yes.
Mr. Vogelpohl?
Yes.
Mr. Waite?
Yes.
Mr. Brinker?
Yes.
All right, that motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Next item of business is ordinance number 2026-0-02. I think everybody knows what this is about, our solicitation ordinance. Attorney Gatlin, if you'd be so kind.
Yes, ordinance number 2026-0-02 is an ordinance amending section 112 of the Independence Code of Ordinances, increasing the fee to $75 for a solicitor's license and clarifying that political and religious activity is exempt from any requirements of the section for the City of Independence. As you can see, the struck-through section is what is being deleted. The underlined section is what is being added, so the fee will now be $75 from oh, it's a little scary hearing myself there. So the fee shall be $75 for the initial application and for each subsequent application. The other thing we wanted to do is clarify, it's really been the law for a while with the United States Supreme Court, but we wanted to clarify in section 112.18 that religious and political activity is exempt from all provisions of this ordinance.
I will tell you from experience, and you all may have had this similar experience, I have found as a practical level, when people have a no solicitor sign, even though you may be there for a political reason, it's not in your best interest to knock on their door and point out to them that the Supreme Court protects your right to be there. You're not going to achieve your goal.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Any discussion on that one? All right. Hearing none, would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve this solicitation ordinance update.
Second.
All right. Motion from Councilmember Waite, second from Councilmember Vogelpohl. Any other discussion? Roll call vote, please, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Waite?
Yes.
Mr. Vogelpohl?
Yes.
Mr. Steffen?
Yes.
Mrs. Franzen?
Yes.
Mr. Baylor?
Yes.
Mr. Brinker?
Yes.
All right, that motion passes unanimously as well. Thank you very much. We are moving on to our last item of old business. This is our manufactured homes text amendment. I just feel like every time I say manufactured homes text amendment, I need to clarify this is in response to a statute that the General Assembly passed last year and to bring our zoning ordinance in line with that. This is not looking to add them to the city because that's what we want. Mr. Gatlin.
This is an ordinance number 2026-0-03, which is an ordinance amending the Independent Zoning Code by 1, amending the definition of qualified manufactured homes, 2, amending the definition of single-family detached dwelling to include qualified manufactured homes, 3, removing qualified manufactured homes as a separate use, 4, removing use-specific standards for qualified manufactured homes, and 5, making any other necessary revisions for compliance with Kentucky House Bill 160. As the mayor indicated, the legislature this past year imposed some rules that did not allow cities to discriminate against manufactured housing. However, cities can still implement all the other normal standards that they have for housing. They just cannot specifically discriminate qualified manufactured housing. So PDS and the Kenton County Planning Commission sort of had an omnibus text amendment for all of Kenton County and all the municipalities. That had a public hearing on December 5th, 2025, in which point the KCPC did vote to recommend the proposed text amendment. And that is attached. It was in your packets. Again, it's just eliminating manufactured homes specifically and putting a better definition in there, but again, allowing all the standard requirements for residential housing that you would normally have.
All right, thank you, sir. Any questions or discussion on this one? Hearing none, entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 2026-003.
Second.
Okay, I've got a motion from Councilmember Franzen, second from Councilmember Waite. Any other discussion? All right. Roll call vote, please, Madam Clerk.
Mrs. Franzen?
I wish the Kentucky State Legislature would quit doing this to cities, but because they have, I'll vote yes.
Mr. Waite?
Yes.
Mr. Vogelpohl?
Yes.
Mr. Steffen?
Yes.
Mr. Baylor?
Yes.
Mr. Brinker?
Yes.
All right, that motion passes unanimously. We are 3 for 3 on our old business, and we have concluded our old business. Moving on to new business, this is municipal order number 2026-MO-02, and kudos to our finance director, Ms. Gibson, had come to us just saying, you know, it would be a good idea for us to really formalize, have a former procedures manual for our financial policies. I think I talked about this a little bit last time with her background, as an auditor in the public sector, was something that, could potentially raise a red flag among auditors, and frankly, it's just a good practice. So she worked very hard to develop policy, looked at a lot of others, took some best practices, and came up with what was sent to you a week or so ago. We can certainly discuss that. She is available to answer any questions anybody has on that one. But before we do that, because we all know I will forget, Attorney Gatlin.
It's municipal order number 2026-MO-02, which is municipal order adopting the financial policies and procedures manual for the City of Independence. As the mayor indicated, the actual financial policies and procedures manual was emailed out to council, and it is becomes attached as Exhibit A to this municipal order, and it better outlines all of the financial procedures of the city.
Okay, thank you, sir. Anybody have any questions for myself or Mr. Morcone or Ms. Gibson? This one? All right. If there are no questions, I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve municipal order 2026-MO-02.
I'll second.
I've got a motion from Councilmember Pfailer, second from Councilmember Brinker. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, roll call vote, please, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Baylor?
Yes.
Mr. Brinker?
Yes.
Mrs. Franzen?
Yes.
Mr. Steffen?
Yes.
Mr. Vogelpohl?
Yes.
Mr. Wade?
Yes.
All right, that motion passes unanimously. The City of Independence officially has a financial policies and procedures manual that we will operate by going forward. Thank you. And once again, Director Gibson, thank you. Great work on this one, and it was just fascinating reading as well.
It made my head spin reading that thing. Glad there's people like you out there to.
All right. Yeah, we probably shouldn't mess with her too much. We're going into budget season, so she's already on the.
She's already, she's on the edge.
We thought she walked out this morning at the beginning of our staff meeting.
Isn't that like your Christmas and Easter all rolled into one budget season?
Exactly. Can we tell you how nice your hair looks tonight? We're going to blur you up a little bit.
Is there a Hallmark movie for that?
Yeah, if only. All right. All right, taking us down to our last item of business. This is to award a bid for the Jamaica Court reconstruction project. Council has in front of them the recommendation from our engineer. Looks like we had 5 respondents. The low bid came in slightly above the engineer's estimate, not terribly off. And obviously, the engineer's recommendation is to accept that low bid from Empire Excavation
Who
on
is
this one.
Empire Excavation?
They are the low bidder.
If they
Is that all we know about them?
If they don't work for us before.
I am going to defer to Mr. Morcone on that one.
getting
I do
hot
not
here.
remember, I don't remember specifically signing a check to Empire Excavation.
No, we have not. So our engineer in Public Works, we did meet with them because we didn't really know much about them either. We did some checking on their work. We looked at, bless you, other cities that they've done. So we met with them here at the city building. And our comfort level was, yes, they know what to do. They know about keeping driveways open as much as possible. So their specialty really is more infrastructure in terms of storm drains, culvert pipes, and all that. And ironically, they're probably going to outsource the blacktop piece to Wriggler. So, at the end of the day, we're
the next highest,
yeah.
next higher bidder.
I mean, that's what they said. But yeah, we did check on them everything because as you all should, you would be questioning because we've never heard of them before. But they seem on the up and up and everything like that.
Are they a local company, do we know?
They're in New Richmond, Ohio.
Okay.
Yeah. But, the interesting thing is I mean, obviously, our comfort level would be go to the next one, which is Wriggler, because, they've done a lot. But we didn't really want to isolate. We're thankful that we're getting more bidders.
Right.
So we didn't really want the word to spread all. Even though we're low, they're giving it to Wriggler or Eaton because they're comfortable with them. So I think this is a good way to kind of dip our toe in the.
And there's a number of different shares that definitely makes it worth looking at. We're not talking just a couple thousand.
Right.
It's a substantial.
Yeah.
So,
So, anyway, but yeah, it's a good question, but we did meet with them, and I think at the end of the day, Wriggler will do the final asphalt part. So.
And in my defense, I had to read a financial policies and procedures manual 2 times. You only got the final draft. So I stayed away from the blacktop bids on this one.
Yeah.
Actually, I recall the discussion though about, Empire and the idea that we just need to have more. I mean, there's times, remember a couple of years ago when we were hearing back from Wriggler and Eaton, and that was kind of it. So, yeah, so this is good. All right. With all that said, anybody else have any other questions on this one? Councilmember Vogel will go in to survive.
I'll be all right.
He's having a sneezer.
Yeah. I mean, since that is the medic side of the dais, I know you're in good hands over there. All right. All right. Well, there is no other discussion. Do I have a motion to accept this bid?
I'll make a motion to accept the Empire excavation bid.
Second.
All right, motion from Councilmember Franzen, second from Councilmember Waite, the dream team of the evening for motions. Any other questions? Roll call vote, please, Madam Clerk.
Mrs. Franzen?
Yes.
Mr. Waite?
Yes.
Mr. Brinker?
Yes.
Mr. Baylor?
Yes.
Mr. Steffen?
Yes.
Mr. Vogel?
Yes.
All right, that motion passes unanimously, keeps us consistent for the evening, and completes our business for the evening. Moving on to reports, Attorney Gadlin, have you anything to report, sir?
Nothing, Mayor.
All right. Mr. Morcone, I believe you do. You even have a bullet pointed on the agenda.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. Thanks, Mayor. So what I did, I gave council tonight a copy of some parking regulations to look at. Not to take any action tonight, but Chief, our chief put them, I don't know if he worked with our assistant chief on putting together on parking, overnight parking, 72-hour parking. So take the next month to look at this, follow up with any questions you might have, and then we'll bring it back in March to see if there's any action that you want to take, if any. But I think Chief put a lot of thought into it with Assistant Chief Boyle, and it's pretty highlight would be what they would be adding, and then I think the lined out typically is what they would take out. So that's basically it. Again, it's just handing it out tonight more for informational, not for action.
Okay, thank you, sir.
That's it. Yeah.
Somebody have any questions on that initially, or like I said, it's not really for,
Since we haven't looked at it yet, is there anything in there to address parking during snow emergencies? To put some teeth in the enforcement? Or how we might enforce it better?
we have the teeth.
We talked about this recently, if I remember right.
Maybe we should have
And
our
I feel
snowplows
like, the last 2 years, we've gotten significant snowfall. I don't feel like, I feel like it's probably gonna continue, because it seems like all the kind of weather is shifting south.
Shift, okay, shift.
Shift,
Yes.
shifting.
Nice catch.
We got a 7-second delay.
Yeah, no, I agree, and we actually had a discussion in the staff meeting this morning. It's what we do, we don't go out and tow. The reality of it is, if we just did a mass towing, we don't have any place to put the cars. Right. That's the biggest challenge. Siding, we go back and forth on that one. There are times that we will side, there are times that we will tow when we see a particular problem. What we have done in the past, and actually our discussion in the staff meeting this morning, the chief had suggested, and I agreed, is it's probably time to have a run of issuing citations.
Yeah, as long, because my thought was, well, the police department's committing resources to going out and citing people, but maybe.
They are, and they commit, they will go out and attempt them, and they did it this last storm. They went out, and if there were still cars on the street on, Saturday, late afternoon into the evening, actually, I think most of the day Saturday, they were out, if they saw cars, finding the owner, going and saying, hey, you need to move your car. If they can get in touch with them. And you know, there are definitely, I know it's not 100, anywhere near 100%, but I mean, it's a noticeable difference on that.
Police officers just seem like they have better things to do than have to knock on people's doors to tell them to put their daggone cars in the park on the driveway. I say we push the snow and build a 7-foot wall up on this car, they'll never do it again.
Which is fine, but then they leave it there until the snow melts. I mean, there's parts of Muddy Street, they're a one-lane road now because of that.
It was suggested in our meeting this morning that the term for that is called kenning them, K-E-N, yeah. No, but so what our decision was is yes, if, you know, it may be, with predicted snowfall tomorrow. We don't have a snow emergency, we haven't declared a snow emergency yet, we don't know what's gonna happen, but yeah, on the next big snowfall, it's probably time to start issuing citations. Yeah, just remind people that you really do have to take seriously. You know, I've taken the, I don't know, the affirmative approach, put out on social media and just not just saying you have to do this, but please, this makes it works. These guys' hard work is so much harder
Yeah,
when they've got to work around vehicles.
When it's this cold for this long, snow doesn't go anywhere for a month.
And that's it. It's a huge problem now, and yeah, it becomes even greater problem because now the stuff that did sit through this cold and got pushed up against cars and things like that, when those cars get out, and it cost us a plow recently, they're going down the street cleaning up and hit one of those that have been sitting for several days and freeze up, or now they're becoming an ice boulder. And we've had some damage. I signed several checks for damaged vehicles before I walked out here today. So yeah, it's not a good thing, but.
Wait, hold on. We have to pay for the damaged vehicles?
No. Our damaged vehicles, just hitting those snow boulders and assorted other things that will damage it. No, when we one of our guys hit a vehicle. And that gets reported as the parked car on the street that, you know, normally would not be considered the person at fault. You know, they are reported as Unit 1 because they are the person at fault on that. So yeah, that's where it solves itself on that end. We don't want it to get to that end. But yeah, your car could get hit out there and we ain't paying for it.
I did see a comment, and it was legitimate, about some of the older subdivisions where the lots are closer together and there's just a single car garage and a single driveway.
It's a huge problem.
Yeah, and there's no place for the cars to go, and those streets are not very wide to begin with. So I get that those subdivisions have that handicap, unfortunately, but the newer subdivisions do not. And I don't know if the police were active in Liberty Orchard before the storm, but I can honestly say I think I saw 2 cars parked on Aristocrat, and that was it.
Yeah.
Everybody else pulled their car on.
I was riding around Sunday afternoon, and I was impressed by the number of cars that were not on the street. But they were still out there, obviously.
Yeah.
The ground's frozen.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have to park it, to get it off the street to keep the streets clean and open,
Park
put it
in
in
your
your front yard.
Yeah, absolutely.
The ground's hard enough, it's not
Actually,
gonna
I
hurt
did
anything.
see one person that did that.
Actually, I'm pretty sure there's an ordinance against parking in your front yard.
Well, maybe we'll add that to our snow post, because you're right. Maybe we'll add that to the post. The suggestion is if you don't have someplace to park, park in your yard, and you will not be, fined cited for violating the ordinance that prohibits that in this case, under a snow emergency. But no, it is, I agree, it's kind of was the discussion this morning, is it's time for a reminder that, hey, look, just because we don't come out and cite or tow you every time doesn't mean it's okay. So it's probably time for a reminder round of citations. And there will also be strategic towing. That's not to say we don't tow at all because we can't put all the cars somewhere. There will absolutely be, if there's a car that's causing a problem on a curb that's hard to get around or whatever, we'll take that car and then come get it from Jude.
Do like Cincinnati did and just put them in random lots and not tell people where they are.
If you want to introduce that ordinance as a council member.
And clean your vehicles off.
You have to guess which parking lot's in.
Yeah.
And
They had a thing on the news the other night about people not cleaning their vehicles off and snow and ice blowing off.
Yeah.
Well, it just so happened that same day, it happened to my daughter on 75. Pickup truck blows past her, big chunk of ice, completely obliterated the windshield, put a dent in her hood, knocked her grill out, broke her, and I don't know how it did it, but it broke the motor transmission for the wipers, which is tucked underneath the cowgill in the hood. So that must have been a good chunk.
Okay.
She was fine, scared the crap out of her. I mean, she got glass dust all over her. But the Richmond police officer told her that if she could have got a license plate, he would have gone after her.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, people forget
But
that.
unfortunately, she had a bunch of snow in her face from the,
we just couldn't see out the windshield.
yeah.
But people don't realize you're liable for the damage if it blows off your vehicle. If somebody's injured or killed because it blows off, you can be charged.
Wow.
Yep.
And the only thing, everybody did a great job removing snow, but the only thing I really heard and I kind of witnessed was, particularly in cul-de-sacs, the mailboxes were snowed in to the point where mail delivery stopped, and in some cases hasn't resumed.
It did, but I will say that's a temporary condition. Our guys have come up last year during the snow. They came up with a great system. What we've done is started contracting with some local, with Jude, with the folks that do our Bolton, that does our concrete finishing, all that, who have small equipment, steer skids, bobcats, things like that, that can get in there to the cul-de-sacs where our trucks. I mean, and understand, folks, so the goal of our guys is to get the streets passable as quickly as possible and safely as possible. So yeah, that first pass is you can drive through. There is no expectation that streets are going to be whistle clean within a couple of hours of snow being over. We want to get it so you can drive through. They come back and clean up when they're done. But these guys were out Sunday evening working on cul-de-sacs, because that's a little more urgent than that pass down the curb to get the street back as wide as it should be and all that.
Well, what
But
happened in our case, or my case, all the snow ended up in a 5-foot spot between the lot driveway next to me and right of me. There's a whole bunch of room where you couldn't put it.
Yeah.
So basically, I had to go out there and dig out my mailbox to get to the point where the mail department could get where the truck would pull up to it. So
Yeah.
there was a lot of people said, hey, I haven't gotten mail, and there's still some that they can't even get to.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
I know
there
it's
are
very
some that can, 'cause I
difficult.
thought they've done a pretty good
Yeah.
job getting out
I
there.
don't know
and
if I ever
cleaning
saw them
it.
down there, but,
Yeah.
Exactly.
just something to keep in mind. If there's a bigger spot over here,
I mean, that's their
Yeah.
goal, and it may not be 100%. There's a lot going on out there when these guys are out there, but the reality of, especially in a snow like this,
well,
there's so much
that was
snow,
a
it's
record
gotta go
breaker,
somewhere.
so, that's
Yeah.
not something we typically,
Yeah.
and hopefully won't deal with again, but we said that last time, and here we are, so.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and well, Councilmember Vogel's point, it seems like this is the way we're going here lately. So.
Yeah, we're breaking that record every
But they
year.
do, and I really do have to applaud them. They did a great job,
Yes.
and, Ms. Tran noted that, and we appreciate that, they did, but when they came up with that idea last year, what a difference that make. I mean, we
Yeah.
haven't gotten to this snow, we did not get the calls, the frequent, the volume that we normally get, and I attribute a lot of it to when they got, I mean, they were back out there quickly getting those cul-de-sacs, because that's hard. And our discussion today, we actually asked, our zoning administrator to see if PDS at Link GIS, if they can give us a number of cul-de-sacs in the city, although none of us are sure we want to know that number.
Yeah, it's quite a few. It
It's
seems like
it's
we're
quite
the
a few,
capital of
and yeah,
cul-de-sacs.
they're a challenge, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, they continue to strive to improve, and they have. I mean,
Well, how many trucks did we have on the street? People are amazed to find out that we don't have
About 8.
Yeah.
they're expecting us to have 20 or 30, they would think, as much miles as we have. I said, no, we do a lot, which is a very,
Yeah, we have the,
Middle number, so.
I think the 550 dump trucks, and then we have actually some pickup trucks with a plow on them and a salt spreader on the flatbed part, just to hit some tight areas. But yeah, we don't,
we're covering 22 miles with about 8 trucks.
200 lane miles,
200 lane
over
miles.
200 lane miles.
So, yeah, that's
City.
pretty impressive that we're able to do what we can.
Yeah, and I'm going to say 142 cul-de-sacs, but that's just a completely made-up number.
Sounds good.
Yeah, they did a great job. 110? 110?
110.
Okay, over, under, I'm taking bets.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Speaking of over under, I got a mountain of snow in my cul-de-sac that I think probably gonna be there till the beginning of June.
Yeah, they'll be there for a while, yeah, no doubt.
You build a nice luge in it, have fun with it.
Chris, you
lemonade.
need to be quiet. You like snow way too
I do like snow.
much.
I do like snow. This job has tempered it a little bit,
I'd like
but I do
to
love snow.
pass an ordinance against it snowing in the city of Independence.
All right, well, that might be the first veto I've used in 12 years. All right,
I'm pretty
moving
sure I have
on.
enough votes to override it.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure you're right about that one, but it's principle. All right. Moving on. I do have a couple of items to report. First one is our friends at the Bank Lick Watershed Council. You may have seen this on our social media. But our friends at the Bank Lick Watershed Council are conducting an event at the library out here this Saturday morning at 10 a.m. It's the Banklick Creek, its history and importance. And this sounds like a pretty interesting program. Just talking about Banklick Creek, I mean, some of the teasers in it. Did you know Pioneer Park sits on the ground once inhabited by ancient peoples? Yeah, and it just burial mounds, all kinds of things along there, but also just the history of the creek, is communities that sprung up around Banklick Creek. I mean, Banklick Creek is a pretty significant waterway for a creek, running from Walton all the way through our city and taking it all the way down to the Licking River. So yeah, it sounds like a neat program. I would recommend it. It is a free event at the library. You can go to our social media and check it out for more information. I think you can even sign up for the event if you want, although you're not required to. So 10 o'clock at the Durr Branch Library. That's my happy news. Now, the other side of it that I want to talk about is Senate Bill 112, and Council, you've probably gotten some things from the Kentucky League of Cities on this. Senate Bill 112 has to do with short-term rentals. When I learned last year, the thing I spent most of my time in Frankfurt and talking to our legislators was Airbnb flooded an insane amount of money, as I am told, into our state legislature. And into PACs, into individual campaigns, all kinds of things, and it was working. They were trying everything they could last year to basically take away as much city local control of limiting short-term rentals. And they came very close. Initially came out with a bill that was soundly defeated. The last iteration of it, I was literally texting a few of Northern Kentucky senators, our senator. We've actually got a couple of senators, areas of the city, but additional ones from Northern Kentucky. It was the last thing that they discussed at the close of the session last year, and it was truly an 11th hour drive. It couldn't get a second, finally, but which was a huge win because it was moving pretty good, and that iteration of it was attached to a swimming pool regulation. They decided the full frontal wasn't working, so we're going to slide it in on this, we're going to slide it on that. I think there were, I believe, 3 or 4 iterations where this, I mean, it was a Where's Waldo game in Frankfurt to try to find where this thing was at. So they're at it again this year. My guess, Senate Bill 112 that's out there now, and it's more egregious than anything I remember last year. It basically is going to take away local control. It's going to say that we cannot, it would void all existing local ordinances, including regulations establishing short-term rental registries. We're not allowed to require registries for short-term rentals. We can't impose any transient room taxes on it. Would eliminate things like, with zoning, we can't outzone it. We can't say they're not allowed in residential zones. We basically can't say anything about them, anything to prohibit them, any of them, keep them out of wherever. My guess is this is their first attempt. They're going to put out the worst thing possible to see what happens, and then they're going to start to play their shell game again and try to slide it. But I would keep an eye on this one. Kentucky League of Cities is opposed to it. They're watching it closely. City officials, I would certainly ask all of you to, if you haven't already, to reach out to your senators. If it gets any leg, Kentucky League of Cities board, what they're considering is, give the cities a toolbox. Give us some kind of a social media toolbox with a couple of graphics, and just, nice, digestible, concise messages to let our residents know this is going on, because we're going to hear about it if they're successful. Yeah, when we have gotten 3 or 4 Airbnbs in Liberty Orchard and Heartland and Manor Hill, and they start popping up everywhere. It's going to be a problem. So pay attention to this one. It is just appalling to me how effective pouring all this money into legislature has been so far. I mean, I've had conversations with senators who were worried about if the Speaker of the House, Speaker Osborne, has been the great champion of it. I suspect also a great beneficiary of these things, but he was championing it to the point where people were afraid to go up against him on it. So it's going to get some legs. So
Well, I told Senator Nunn and Representative Doan and Representative Mosier and Banta, I didn't try Roberts because that's like talking to a wall, but I said we're not the same, and if Airbnb wants to do this, then have them come lobby the local levels, the cities, the counties. Senator Nunn told me he's against it, so for what that's worth, and Steve Doan gave me a thumbs up.
No, he was, and we had a lot of conversations last year about it. And I think I didn't have any of our representatives that I could find were were opposed, or were in favor of it, but I initially concerns expressed about going up against Speaker Osborne. But I think, yeah, hopefully over that one as
will.
last year.
I'll go up against it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you don't have a vote down there. Yeah, the counter to this argument that you will hear is it's a property rights issue. That's the only leg they have to stand on. Property, I should be able to do what I want with my property, I should be able to rent it out. Well, bull. I mean, we do this with zoning all the time. I certainly believe strongly in property rights, but we always weigh that against the impact that it has basically on the neighbor's property rights. So I don't believe that applies, and I use Airbnbs. I travel a fair amount, and I use Airbnb and VRBO fairly often. And I can tell you, when I'm, if there's a problem in one of the places or not, there's a lot of those times I'm not talking to somebody local. I'm talking to somebody in another state, and a number of times in another country. So, this is not, Bob wants to make a few extra bucks and rent out his house on the weekends, because he's gonna go stay with his, his sister or something. No, this is a business. They are turning our neighborhoods into hotels. Yeah, this is not violating somebody's personal property rights.
Well, I could use the same argument, saying it's my car, I can drive it as fast as I want to.
Right. Yeah, it's a silly false argument, so I'm sorry to go on a rant, but man, this thing frustrated me so much last year, and I knew it was coming again this year, and boy, they didn't waste any time on
And
it.
it's an
This is a
election
long
year for
session.
a lot of these representatives,
Yeah.
so if you make your voice known, they'll listen.
Yeah, so.
Or they'll get paid.
Pay attention, and that's certainly my request to you all is, and our voices will be listened to down there. But yeah, my suggestion to the folks out there is pay attention, and we'll try to keep you apprised of it. But there may become a time that I'm going to be reaching out and saying, here's some phone numbers, here's some email addresses. Please contact these folks and let them know what you think. All right, that's the end for my rant. Anything from council?
I have two things. First, I'll start with the happy news. I wanted to brag. We had regionals this week, 3 days worth, and that's why I keep yawning up here, so I apologize, because I'm very tired and I'm not getting any younger. But for the first time in Simon Kenton history, we had a regional event winner in swimming. Parker Davis kicked everybody's butt, including Highlands and Ryle and Cuff Calf, and won a regional title in swimming. And he was also voted onto the all-region team, which is something that a swimming first. Our diver, Isaiah Reinhardt, defended his regional title from last year and won the region. I had 7 individual school records broken. 3 kids qualify for state in both their individual events and 2 boys relays. So I'm just exceptionally proud of my team. And I wanted to brag on them a little bit because they're all good kids. The second thing is I'd just like to read a small statement. I admit that I had to have Chat AI clean it up for me a little bit because I was pretty angry when I wrote it. So I'm just going to address some of the keyboard warriors out there on Facebook who want to criticize our police department. So I just want to say I want to express my deepest condolences and sympathy to everyone affected by the tragic events on Sunday in Troopers Crossing. The loss of Mr. Works is a profound one, and my thoughts are with his loved ones during this difficult time. In light of these events, I wish to convey my unwavering support for our police department and their actions on Sunday. I recognize the immense pressure and danger law enforcement officers face, particularly when confronted with potentially life-threatening situations involving firearms. It is challenging for those of us who have not experienced such circumstances firsthand to fully comprehend the split-second decisions that must be made. Therefore, I believe it is essential to refrain from premature judgment. The appropriate investigative bodies will thoroughly review the incident to determine the justified outcome, and I trust in their process. Regardless of the specifics, I want to clearly state my support for our officers. They consistently perform a vital service for our community, often in challenging conditions and despite unfair criticisms. These men and women courageously put themselves in harm's way to ensure our safety, and for that, I am profoundly grateful. My father served as a police officer for Kenton County, and while I was very young when he served, he told me the stories of the demanding nature of the profession. Consequently, I want the police officers in Independence and in Kenton County to know that I stand in solidarity with them and sincerely appreciate their dedication and service.
Here, here.
Well said.
Thank you, Carol. I'll echo what you said, and I would also encourage our citizens who like to be baited into these anonymous posts and engage people online, just step away from it. You know, there's people out there who are, and we see it all over the country, trying to sow discourse. Let's not fall to that, because independence is better than that. And I truly believe that. So again, thanks to our police department, everything they do, and I stand with them 100% as well.
I agree with everything Chris said, and keep in mind, a lot of these people that post on there, they aren't residents of the city of Independence.
No.
Right.
No.
You start looking closely, they're from other parts of the county, or God knows where, but they
Or-
like to talk about, you know, independence even though they don't even live here.
Right.
Or they're
They
from
just-
Wisconsin or
Yeah.
something like that, and they
Right.
just opened up a Facebook
Or
page.
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
I just want our police department to know that we stand with you.
We do. We're not afraid of people who type stuff out of their mom's basement.
Yeah. I would like to see them, I shouldn't say that. I don't want to see anybody face the end of a barrel of a gun, but, you know, what kind of split-second decision would they make if they were? So,
All true. How do you follow that?
That's my rant.
All right, anything else from council?
Motion for adjournment?
All right, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
Make.
Motion from Councilmember Vogel.
Second.
And a second from Councilmember Wade. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Yeah, I guess.